Hello, and welcome to Warhammer, where competitive 40k gets broken down and analysed. We cover top-level gameplay, faction trends, and meta shifts with no fluff. Today we're going to kick things off with a tier list. This is a full faction tier list. To kick things off, we have the Custodes. They are a solid B-tier army. A little tidbit for you here: if you want to punish the Custodes, catch them in the open with some units that you don't mind trading, force them to use their mortal wound protection early, as they have to declare that at the start of a phase, and blast away. Respect their charge ranges. They want to be in combat with you, and they will punish you once they're there. Next up, we have Adeptus Mechanicus. The best tidbit I can give you versus Adeptus Mechanicus is to play a practice game into them. They can kill you with 1,000 shots, so just be mindful of that when you're looking at the list that you're going up against. Each individual profile might not be scary, but as soon as they start ganging up on you on a flank, they can do some real damage. Next up, we have Sisters. So Sisters had some points decreases. They had their miracle dice changed, and for me, that means Sisters are back on the menu. They are certainly an A-tier army now. I can't wait to see what the next couple of tournament results have for the Sisters players. Next up, we have Eldar. So with Ynnari being absolutely gutted, I cannot put them in S tier, although generally in previous tier lists you would see them stuck there by most people. For me, Eldar still play the same game. They are an A-tier army. Just a little tidbit versus Eldar: pre-measure all their fancy movement shenanigans, give yourself a couple of options for Overwatch. They can only protect one unit, so have some additional options for yourself. Next up, we have the Astra Militarum. So, Guard, as they have been all edition, are an A-tier army. Do not disrespect them at range. If you put 500 points of your army into a Leman Russ, expect that you're going to be slapped back with a 500-point arsenal of Leman Russes, Rogel Dorns and whatnot. If a little tidbit for you here: if they stick a Taurox or a Chimera on objective and you can kill it, be mindful. Can you kill what comes out of that transport? Can you deal with 10 OC2 bodies? No, don't shoot it. Just steal the objective from them with OC and wait it out. Next up, we have the Demons. So demons. I love a demon army. I think they're a solid B-tier army right now. It's far too easy to play into them and to cripple them. And the little tidbit here would be respect the 6 to 9 inch deep strike, depending on the faction that you're playing against. And if you're screening well, the demons aren't having a good time. Next up, we have Chaos Knights. They have a brand new codex, and until we see that a bit more, I'm going to put them at the top of B tier. I think they can get some disgustingly resilient War Dogs and even more disgustingly resilient Big Knights through their detachments now. So I think high B, A tier. We'll see what happens over the tournament scene in the next couple of weeks. CSM are next on the block. CSM are a tier army. There is no argument. They are still one of the most hardest hitting factions in the game. They have so much build variety. You can build them as a D-tier army, but we're focusing on strictly the meta here. Respect their damage is all I can say as a tidbit there. Respect. Pre-measure. Now we have everyone's favorite up next, the Death Guard. S tier. Oppressive, resilient, does damage, probably needs some type of nerf here. I can't believe they escaped the nerf, if I'm honest with you, in the last pass, but I guess GW didn't have enough stats there. So from our powerful elves to our not so powerful elves. Now, if it wasn't for Skari, they'd be in D tier. Just because of him, I'll stick him in C tier. They're still very much a mid-table bully, and if you haven't played into Drukhari, they're going to give you a bad time. Little tidbit here: whatever faction or detachment, they're using, kill their transports. They hate being stuck in their transport, stuck outside of their transports. They get a lot of buffs from them. So yeah, C tier for me. Next up, we have Genestealer Cults. Innes Wilson's favorite. If everyone could play like him, I'd put them in S, but absolutely, it doesn't really matter how you build them. They're certainly an A-tier army if you're thinking meta picks. Respect them, be mindful of their deep strike. Try your hardest to screen, but it's easier said than done. Now we have the Grey Knight. Sadly, and Grey Knight players will understand this, because of the game-wide like adjustments and nerfs to things like 3-inch deep strike and indirect, they have suffered, and they've not really received any buffs to help them along the way. Very much a C tier army for me. Next up, we have our Imperial Knights. Even with the Codex in mind, I do think that Imperial Knights can still outperform the Chaos Knights. This remains to be seen. We will see. I know they do better on GW formats, so you will see WTC and UKTC events where they don't perform as well, but this is an overall view of the meta, very much with GW in mind. So for me, Imperial Knights are still doing really well. From our tallest boys to our shortest boys. So Short Kings out there, this is for you, Votan. If we were talking strictly Germany and strictly certain matchups, they're very much a strong army. I have seen recently Votan slap a very competitive Necron list, so it certainly is possible. I'm still going to say C tier because I think the overall strength and the overall way that these are built, they seem to be C tier. They're not tricksy enough. They play honest Warhammer, and unlike Guard, they don't have the incredible firepower to mean that they can play an honest game of Warhammer and reap the benefits of that. Next up, we have everyone's favourite, the Necrons. So they're resilient, they're lethal at range, they do have some lethal combat. A little tidbit for Necrons, if you shoot Necrons with anything or attack them with anything, kill the unit. Necrons do want you to overcommit. Yes, that's a part of their game plan. However, they also would love it if you split fire continuously and just let them heal all game. So be mindful of that. Next up, and this is a sad one for me, I love Orcs. I don't know anyone who doesn't like playing into Orcs. Sadly, the Daka detachment meant that Orcs received a army-wide nerf alongside a Daka complete nuclear bombardment. I would love to be putting Orcs in A tier and talking about how fun that is. But for me, they're very much the bottom of B tier. I think they still have a lot of competitive builds. A little tidbit for Orcs is make sure you wag louder than your opponent and you can't really go wrong. In terms of actual competitive, serious tidbits for you. So Orcs suffer from just not being good at range and pay attention to what their units are doing. So if they're holding tank busters off, screen your sides, make sure they can't rapid ingress in on the sides, make sure they can't get good angles. If they're playing the spammy truck style, which is very, very, very strong, just remember your move blocks. Make it so when they wag, they can only charge into frontline things that you want to be attacked first. I think you can just play a really consistent, nice, normal game of Warhammer into Orcs and do well right now. Next up, we have the Space Marines. So I'm not doing each individual chapter for Space Marines. That is a conscious choice. This is focusing strictly on the meta. You absolutely can build a D tier, C tier Marine list. If built correctly, they are absolutely an A tier army. I think I'd be tempted with the recent changes to CP to maybe just plop them a little bit below the Necrons and the Guard here. CSM and Space Marines for me, probably around the same kind of scariness, meta ability right now. Next up, some big changes for Tau. I've played into Tau quite a lot since the change. A friend of mine really enjoys the Tau. I would have always put Tau as kind of C and D tier. I don't think Tau ever really fell off. I don't think they were incredibly weak. Again, I think they suffered army abandonment, a lot like Sisters. If in the right hands, in the right matchups, they did incredibly well. With the new changes, which I've experienced several times myself, I think they're up there now. I think top of B tier. I think a well-built Tau army is going to give a lot of B tier armies here a run for their money. And I also think they can give the A tier armies a run for their money. Having this incredible, reliable indirect that they now have is something to, not to sniff at all. I think they'll do well. Next up, we have Thousand Suns. Love me a bit of Egyptian style armor. Great army. 1,000 Suns, again, for me, never really fell off. They were so powerful. You saw it recently when the new Codex was coming out. Good players were brushing off their models, brought them to a tournament, and they put out good results. Now they have improved power from the Codex. I think they are I think they're the most powerful army right now. A little tidbit, mortal wound protection is still so vital into them, and we do have mortal wounds in different armies right now. So if you have some cheap mortal wound tech, it wouldn't hurt to stick that in if possible. 1,000 Suns very much are a force to be reckoned with, and I'm I'm pretty confident that over the next few weeks we will see that very much. They're still incredibly hard to play, of course, but just the damage output is just insane. Next up, we have the bugs. Good old Tyranids. I love Tyranids. I think they're really fun. I love the idea of painting, building them. They were one of the first factions. They got me into the game. Tyranids for me would have very much been a C, bottom of B tier army. Now Subterranean Assault exists. They're an A tier army for me. I'm going to put them at the bottom because we need to see how that plays out and what they can actually do into the wider kind of top tier armies. But I think right now very much an A tier army. World Eaters. World Eaters were scary before. I think with the new codex they are even more terrifying when built correctly. They were one of those armies that everyone thinks, oh, they just run forwards and that's it. But no, if you play them correctly, they're very powerful. And I think they've been overshadowed by the release of Death Guard. I think that while we focus on these S tiers, World Eaters are just going to go, X and 1 multiple times and win a few tournaments. Nearly there, we have Emperor's Children. Now, they're still S tier, right? A few points increases, no changes to their rules. You're still going to have 1 to 2 demons the demon princes, to play against. Couple of tidbits here. I've got a lot of games into them now. Do not be scared to shoot the demon princes. If you can knock a few wounds off, their charge mortals become a hell of a lot less scary. They also suffer a little bit. This is the demon princes. As in, if they don't have the charge mortals, they're not actually that good in combat. They do struggle to kill medium kind of tankiness transports and vehicles like Doomsday Arcs, for example. And they want you to shoot the demon prince, yes, but you think, oh, it's -1 damage, I won't bother. But actually, if you can chip it off early, absolutely do so. Another little tidbit here, just to deep dive into this a touch, because I've got quite a few games into them. The Noise Marines. So the issue I was doing, or the mistake I was making, is I was putting trade pieces out early to try and keep them back, and obviously this lets them build up their buffs. This is in the conceited detachment, of course. And then turn 3 and 4, when the Noise Marines were coming out, they were absolutely slapping me. And I was like, oh god, Noise Marines need a nerf, I hate them. Actually, I've changed my play pattern now. I play it like Purge the Foe. I'm really reserved with my units early. I let them push out. I let them kind of build up the tempo. And then once you pick off a few of their units, they're then forced to come into you turns 3 and 4 with, less buffs up. And it's just not as scary at all. So there is a play pattern around that. I still think they are S tier though. Maybe a couple more points increases just to bring the number of mission play units down would make me feel, this is an A tier army now. And now we have agents next. Lovely agents. They're just not a real army. I don't know. Maybe if like John Lennon was piloting them and he was against, a hobby player, he could just dominate. I haven't seen it. Every game I've played into them, they've gone, here's my 10 profiles and here's my 20 abilities and and then just nothing happens. They can, coalesce onto one point and do incredible damage. However, it just isn't consistent enough, and not really going to be taking them that serious. And with that, that concludes the faction tier list. If you disagree with the ranking, drop your arguments in the comments. I'm all about competitive debate here. And if you want to stay ahead of the shift in meta every week, hit subscribe now. We've got battle reports, counter-tech guides, and full faction deep dives on the way. And if you liked my tidbits I was given for each army, I will be doing a series of just little tidbits of how you can play into each of these meta armies.